You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That's what James Clear once said, the guy who wrote Atomic Habits. So if you're struggling with discipline, reduce it to a level you cannot avoid. Hi there, my name is Kanchefu, and here we talk about personal development. In particular, we talk about life after therapy. If you're new here, make sure you press subscribe. But if not, welcome back. So, let us begin. Waiting to feel ready. It's an issue. It creates procrastination. It makes the intended task longer to take action on. It requires more energy than necessary, and it usually deviates your thoughts, your focus, your mind on what you're really meant to be doing. Waiting to feel ready is a problem. So let's challenge this belief that readiness comes before action. And just hearing that out loud, how does that sit with you? What does that make you think? Does that make you want to switch off this video? Or does it encourage you and probe to think beyond what your thoughts usually say to you? So a way to think further about this. Readiness is almost treated as a requirement for action. Without feeling ready, without preparing your desk, your workspace, or being in a certain environment, you can't do anything. But is that always the case? Waiting for the right mood, the right energy, or the right time are all factors that contribute to not doing anything at all, that keep in your current position. And then I wonder, is that delay justified as preparation? Because if that's so, motivation then must be fluctuating as well, creating inconsistency as that default pattern, all resulting in no sustained progress. Now, that cycle, those habits, that way of being, does it sound relative to moving forward? Does it sound as if I'm explaining your past? Or does it correlate to what you've seen others do, that you subconsciously, unknowingly act out every single day? A way of being every single day. Answering those questions, having thoughts along those lines can help identify and bring awareness to who you are and things you do, all connected to why you wait. So really, readiness isn't required. So to then develop from that point, we have to view discipline being built through minimum standards, minimum ways that you accept yourself doing, being, or behaving. And then this then contributes to removing decision making, another factor that slows things down. So let's think of some minimum standards together. I've got 4 in mind. Let's discuss them. As a basis, having 1 non-negotiable per day. One thing you will do regardless of how you feel, of the moment, of the environment, of the activities you have already placed, and a non-negotiable, whether that's first thing you do, the last thing you do, or somewhere in between. But keep them simple and achievable, realistic, without having a variation of it. This is just to get the ball rolling and to start doing something in accordance with this bigger goal that you have. Number 2, I'm definitely thinking some fixed timing should be involved. Simply attach an action to a specific time or trigger, aka this time you wake up, this time you sleep, this time you eat, this time you rest. And think about it, what would that then do for you on a day-to-day basis? If you had that order, structure, or just even behave that way, how would that support you? Because then you're able to build routines through that repetition. Another standard, completion over quality. Focus on completing an action. Yes, sometimes it may not be to the highest degree. Yes, sometimes you may do it tired. Yes, sometimes you do it with the most energy. But complete what you say you're going to do. There's significance in that. Not only because it reinforces that you do as you say, but much rather it further develops your identity. And for some of you, it'll be a challenge to avoid perfectionism, having the measurement being completion rather than quality, aesthetic, or some type of perfection. Because the goal becomes maintaining consistency rather than the justified way that your mind creates. And lastly, track daily proof. Record the completion each day. Remember, it's 1 task. The reinforcement of your identity comes through these receipts. Inconsistency can't take place when there's a system. Building who you are can't take place when there's no standards at all. If we're to think of an example, somebody without a system waits to feel ready, starts inconsistently, stops when resistance appears, and those cycles continue to repeat. But when there's a system in place, that singular action gets completed daily, and mood and feeling are ignored, and much rather the tracking and the evidence shows that you're progressing forward. And that's what I'm gonna leave for today. If you enjoyed today's discussion, make sure you like the video and share with a friend or family member you know would like to hear this discussion. My name is Kanchefu. If you'd like one-to-one support with managing, understanding, or working on your motivation and discipline, click the link in the description to fill out the form, or comment the word discipline and I'll send it to you. My name is Kanchefu once more. Have a good day, morning, night, or evening, wherever you're in the world watching this. I'll see you next Monday for our next discussion.